In this video, I want to have a look at multiplying and dividing integers. So when we're multiplying or dividing integers, there's a few rules that we need to remember. So when we're doing it, if both numbers have the same sign, so that means that either they're both positive or they're both negative, then our answer is always going to come out to be positive. Now, if both numbers have different signs, so that means that one of them's positive and one of them's negative, then the answer is always going to be negative. So another way of writing that is like this. So if we have a positive number times a positive number, our answer is also going to be positive. Or if we have a negative number times a negative number, our answer is going to be positive. So that's because they're both the same sign. But if we had a positive and a negative number, that will give us a negative answer. And if it was the other way around, if our first number was negative and our second number was positive, that's still going to give us a negative answer. It works the same when you're dividing. So if you've got two positives, you're going to get a positive answer. If you've got two negative numbers, you're going to get a positive. But if you have one of each, you're going to get a negative answer. So let's have a look at some examples. So when we're solving problems, what I like to do is have a look and decide whether my answer is going to be positive or negative first. And then I can ignore the positives and negatives and just look at the numbers and figure that out. So for example, in this first question, we've got -3 times +4. So because we've got a negative times a positive, I know my answer is going to be negative. So I can put a negative in there. And then I can just look at the numbers and I know that 3 times 4 is going to be 12. So that means that -3 times 4 would be -12. For our second one, we've got -6 times -7. So because we've got a negative number times another negative number, I know my answer is going to be positive. Now you can write a plus sign here, but you don't have to, because usually if we write a positive number, we don't put the plus sign in front of it. And then I can have a look and I know that 6 times 7 is 42. So my answer is going to be a positive 42. My third example, I've got a +4 times a -5. So because I've got one positive, one negative, my answer is going to be negative. And then 4 times 5 is 20. Now let's have a look at some divisions. So in number 4, I've got -15 divided by 3. So I've got a negative divided by a positive, so my answer is going to be negative. And then 15 divided by 3 is 5. For question 5, I've got 16 divided by -2. Again, I've got a positive and a negative, so one of each. So that means my answer is going to be negative. And then 16 divided by 2 is 8. My next question, I've got -12 divided by -6. So because I've got a minus number divided by a minus number, my answer is going to be positive. And then 12 divided by 6 is going to give me 2. Our last question, we've got -10 over 5. So that over, when you've written a number in a fraction, it means divide. So I've got a -10 divided by 5. So because one's negative and one's positive, I'm going to have a negative answer. And 10 divided by 5 is 2. So again, you can obviously do these things in your calculator, but we want to practice understanding it and doing it without your calculator first. So that's having a look at multiplying and dividing integers.